where is start?
So, Sil and Beena reading The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, part 2. Well, there's a bit of a gap. We were last where the old man, the
Yeah, I
king,
can
was.
read it. I can read it, no problem. But this
Oh,
time we
okay,
will go without
okay,
sharing anything. Yes?
okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we will go like this.
All right. Because it's an important point, though, there, right? So to recap what I was saying in the beginning before you started continuing the reading, this part of where the old man shares his inverted it's presented as wisdom, but yet it's not. Now, Beena was giving me a hard time. Oh, I'm very harsh on the book, or I have very definitive opinions on the book. But
Yes.
I want to say that, particularly in the course, I want to
Mhm.
come at the book from the perspective of mourners, and that the book is this big metaphorical journey, yes, of the way the universe,
Mhm.
particularly in the context of how intent is materialized, right? So
Mhm.
I see this old man's statements, which when you apply discernment to them, they fall apart, right?
Mhm.
As being a kind of a test for Santiago. The universe sends him the old man to test him. If he listens and has discernment and wisdom and sensibility, well, then he can go kind of directly to his treasure, right? But he fails the test miserably, right? I mean, he's a bit irritated with the old man. He's dismissive of the old man. He sort of wants to get rid of him at one stage, just thinking he's after his wine only. He's not able to see the mourners, but okay, the old man persists a little bit and he sort of gets through to the boy more or less. But he still says all the stuff, which is like, hello. But we already know this from the boy because, of the thing he says about the sheep, that he's lacking in discernment. Yeah, he gets a real test. So, of course, now the path that follows because of this test is one in which Santiago is forced to learn discernment and impeccability and thoughtfulness and perspective shifting and not being naive and trusting without trusting and all sorts of lessons that he needs to learn before he gets to his treasure. And this is an important point for me, right? That I think this is the path that we want things, but we are not ready to get what we want. Yes.
Mhm.
And like I mentioned earlier, what happens when you have your deep desires? The universe conspires to give it to you. But if you're not ready, what happens? Look at the people who win the lottery, right? The majority of them, the overwhelming majority, end up worse off than they were before. Worse
Mhm.
off. Not the same, worse off.
Mhm.
This is fantastic. So when you get what you really, really want and you're not prepared for it, it can mess your life up, right? So this is the important lesson here that Santiago gets prepared. Now, obviously, those people who won the lottery didn't get prepared, but then again, there are the exceptions to make a lesson. Whereas the majority of people don't win the lottery; they don't get what they want because of this reason. I feel,
Mhm.
at least that's my personal perspective on things.
Yes.
Powerful, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Very cool, magical Beena. Very, very cool.
Okay. Now we continue.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm just trying to recap. Was there other things that
Yes.
I shared at the time or not? That were
They were, okay, of course, very long ones, but of course.
right. Well, as we go through, they'll probably pop up again. So yeah, no
Okay.
worries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the boy told him that he had already promised to give 1/10 of his treasure to the gypsy. Gypsies are experts at getting people to do that, sighed the old man. In any case, it's good that you have learned that everything in life has its price. This is what the warriors of light try to teach. The old man returned the book to the boy. Tomorrow at the same time, bring me 1/10 of your flock, and I will tell you how to find the hidden treasure. Good afternoon. And he vanished around the corner of the plaza. The boy began again to read his book, but he was no longer able to concentrate. He was tense and upset because he knew that the old man was right. He went over to the bakery and bought a loaf of bread, thinking about whether or not he should tell the baker what the old man had said about him. Sometimes it's better to leave things as they are. He thought to himself and decided to say nothing. If he were to say anything, the baker would spend 3 days thinking about giving it up all, even though he had gotten used to the way things were. The boy could certainly resist causing that kind of anxiety for the baker. So he began to wander through the city and found himself at the gates. There was a small building here with a window at which people bought tickets to Africa, and he knew that Egypt was in Africa. Can I help you? Asked the man behind the window. Maybe tomorrow, said the boy, moving away. If he sold just one of his sheep, he'd have enough to get to the other shore of the strait. The idea frightened him. Another dreamer, said the ticket seller to his assistants, watching the boy walk away. He doesn't have enough money to travel. While standing at the ticket window, the boy had remembered his flock and decided he should go back to being a shepherd. In 2 years, he had learned everything about shepherding. He knew how to shear sheep, how to care of pregnant ewes, and how to protect the sheep from wolves. He knew all the fields and pastures of Andalusia, and he knew what was the fair price of every one of his animal. He decided to return to his friend's stable by the longest route possible. As he walked past the city castle, he interrupted his return and climbed the stone ramp that led to the top of the wall. From there, he could see Africa in the distance. Someone had once told him that there it was from there that the Moors had come to occupy all of Spain. Just a minute.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. He could see almost the entire city from where he sat, including the plaza where he had talked with the old man. Curse the moment I met that old man, he thought. He had come to the town only to find a woman who could interpret his dream. Neither the woman nor the old man were at all impressed by the fact that he was a shepherd. They were solitary individuals who no longer believed in things
Yeah,
and didn't
that's an interesting
understand.
point, right, Beena? Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt you. Yeah, you're going very fast. You're zooming along. It's all
yes.
good though. This point that it was important to Santiago that people are impressed by him being a shepherd.
Yes, because he gave up to be a priest and all the pride and everything to be a shepherd. So for him, it was a big thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it was like, okay, I have, again, capital C choice. It was his choice. And he was, rightly so, he was quite proud of his choice because he was enjoying, he was learning. Of course, not completely, not transformatively, but yes, he was learning. And that, again, we are coming back to the same capital C choice, first deliberate choice.
Yeah.
And it is going to be imprinted on his soul and mind and everything, because we will see that even when he will learn a lot of other things, that shepherd in him will remain a shepherd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will be there. We will see.
Yeah.
And this is very interesting because one of our former prime minister, first lady prime minister of Pakistan, and the youngest, I guess, of the world, anyway, Benazir Bhutto's daughter. Now that her daughter became a mother and she just gave birth to a little boy, and he is, I guess, a month old now. So she shared a picture on Instagram of herself holding that baby in a nursery, and then it was adorable picture, of course, a new mother and a baby and all these things. But what I was observing, that she already have a bookshelf in the nursery, and there were books there, and I was so impressed by that, and I was so happy for her that she is aware that no, yes, of course, the baby will take like years to start reading, but might take, okay, some maybe in just a couple of years or maybe in 2-3 years, but still she is providing him the best she can right now. And what is important, what is actually important, because it is going to be imprinted on his soul.
Yeah, and she can read to him before he can read, if it's a him or her.
Even yes, of course, this is what she is going to do. But even if she don't do that, just just seeing those books as part of his life
Yes,
will
yes,
make him
yeah,
like really into his learning and growing and everything. And I was so pleased by that. Yes,
yeah,
people bring toys and everything. Yes, of course, it is good to enjoy. Mostly parents enjoy toys more than an infant, of course. But the books
yeah,
has to be there, and I truly enjoyed that. And same with this thing, because she is uh, she is providing him a suitable environment to make impeccable choices in life.
yes. Beautiful, Beena.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you hope. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Of
nice.
course, it's all my side, my perspective, and I was
Yes,
so
it's
happy,
beautiful, and
so
I
thrilled by
agree.
seeing
I
that.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, it gives us hope to see that.
Yes. Just
Yeah,
provide that environment, and then see that it is. I think that that was the most suitable environment you can provide to make impeccable, deliberate choices in future.
yeah,
Now it's up to the child, of course. They pursue that or not. You cannot force anything, but you are just providing the suitable environment, the
yeah,
potent environment for that. That yes,
yeah,
books are part of your life, even if okay, if not really important or significant one, but they are part of it. It's like duh for him. I
yeah.
assume that it will be like duh for him. Yes, what else?
I love it,
That type
Beena.
of thing.
Very
And this is
beautiful.
what I want for every. I really hope for every child to
Yes,
have
Beena.
things like that.
Yes, mourners. They have mourners in their
Honest.
life.
The first thing they should see in their room is some
Yeah,
books there. This is part of life.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was so
yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Very,
So
very powerful. Yeah, books are
people
magic.
say once a teacher, always a teacher. I don't okay. I don't know about much about that, but I feel that whatever the first deliberate choice we make for ourselves, just for the pure sake of impeccability and truly to ourselves, it is an imprint in our soul. It is going
Yeah,
to be there. So
very
be
cool.
careful, be thorough, be impeccable in your choices.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Very important, Beena. Very, very beautiful. Thank you. That's very cool.
Okay. They were
Thank you.
solitary individuals who no longer believed in things and didn't understand that shepherd become attached to their sheep. He knew everything about each member of his flock. He knew which one were lame, which one was to give birth 2 months from now, and which were the laziest. He knew how to shear them and how to slaughter them. If he ever decided to leave them, they would suffer. Okay, so now here's the answer. What you were saying that about that he was not being aware, or at least not caring about mentioning that what sheep really care about.
Yeah,
Okay, food and water. He is aware, but it is just like deliberately not mentioning these things, that they are also
right,
do
right.
care about survival thing. So
Yeah,
because he's aware of it, that who is going to be in that, so he's quite aware of it, and he's making
yeah,
it sure that he's not a naive or just like a
yeah.
lame shepherd, but
Right,
he's aware.
right. But being aware and being able to express your awareness and being aware of your awareness are two different things, right?
He that the character himself is aware completely, and being able to and also able um, to make it obvious for others, but the author, the storyteller here,
Yeah,
conveniently avoid that. He says like, okay, no, so
exactly.
it's just say that. So it's a very subtle way, but yes, the author, storyteller, I must say, instead of author, I will say storyteller, because the way this book is written for me,
Yeah,
I'm sharing my personal perspective. The way
yes,
this book has
yes,
written, it's more like a natural, or you can say that
exactly.
the stories which you share from heart to heart, from generation, that kind of a story.
Exactly,
Uh,
exactly,
so it is
exactly.
not like a literary book, the way books
Right.
usually
It's
written.
exactly,
So
exactly, exactly.
I'm going to call from now on. I'm going to call
Absolutely.
Paulo.
He is a storyteller here rather than an author. A very, very
Exactly.
astute discernment, Beena. Very astute discernment. Let
Yes.
me repeat that.
So
Very
we can say that it was a bit carelessness, or you can say that unnecessary avoidance from author side, from a
yeah,
storyteller. But the character himself was aware,
yeah,
was aware,
yeah.
and
Like I said, he had to be, but in his thinking, he's expressing this, which shows his lack of discernment and thoughtfulness and awareness of his own awareness. He knows things, but he's not really adept at actualizing them into moreness. In other words, he doesn't the language of conceptuality from
but,
it.
uh, but this is the self-talk we are reading right now. That
Exactly.
okay, he knew
Exactly.
everything. He is talking to himself. Because at that
Exactly.
moment, there are
Exactly.
people who are not aware. So it was at self-talk. He is aware that all these
Uh,
things, and he's okay, more than just owning all his awareness and knowledge about this stuff. It's a bit of vanity also into that. He said, oh, so it's not a big deal for them. I'm a shepherd. So a bit of vanity also there. Okay. Uh,
uh,
he knew how to shear them and how to slaughter them. If he ever decided to leave them, they would suffer. Again, assumptions. This was also in Jonathan Livingston Seagull also. There was an assumption that this is the pride in Seagull, and this is a shame for Seagull. This is what they really want. Of course, most stories are assumptions, but being so direct, being so assertive in our statements, like this is how it is, it's a bit of assumptions for me, which I was feeling like, no, it is just my thoughts. So, but okay. For a story, it's okay. So he again, Santiago is assuming that his sheep are going to suffer if he will lead them, which is not the case, of course, absolutely not. He himself saying that all they care about is food and water, and of course some other things in life. So they will not mind who is going to provide them. No. So why they will suffer till they are getting what they really want.
yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
The wind began to pick up. He knew that wind people called it Levanta because on it the Moors had come from the Levant at the eastern end of the Mediterranean. The Levanta increased in intensity. Here I am between my flock and my treasure. The boy thought he had to choose between something he had become accustomed to and something he wanted to have. This is again, it's a very subtle cueing to talk about getting out of your comfort zone and giving up things which you are already uh,
Say again, Beena.
do I'm working for that way.
You broke up there. Say again.
So again, it's a starting. That's why I was calling it manual because that's how the story is told. Or now, Santiago is thinking about okay, so I'm doing this. Oh, here comes on. Okay, sorry. So I dropped. I don't know how.
Yeah, yeah. It's all right.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a very obvious cueing right there when the author or the storyteller cueing about getting out of our comfort zone and choosing something new and exciting but unknown. And also to learn and grow, you have to give up something which you have already done. It's about relearning. It's because uh, I don't feel comfortable using the term of unlearning because I don't actually see that we can unlearn things. We can relearn in a more precise way, but it is going to be there. We can modify it. We can update that. But so it's a relearning, not unlearning.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know if people are able to do that. Sorry, I'm not. Once I have learned something, it is going to be there. I can update, I can modify it, but
Yeah.
the awareness itself is going to be there. So
Exactly.
to relearn, this is something very, very, very obvious cueing, but in an interesting way. That's why I
Yeah.
call it a life manual, a very basic
Yeah.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
you have to choose if you have to something which you will might feel uncomfortable, but it will give you some new experiences,
Yeah.
so you will grow in that. So this is the queuing here. But I'm happy that we are agreed on that. It's a story, it's not book. And
Correct.
Paulo
Correct.
is the
Correct.
teller.
Correct. It's definitely a mythical story, and like you say, in that very much in that way, a story that you'd hear, your grandmother or your grandfather tell,
Exactly, exactly,
a
yes,
passed on story. Yeah, not
exactly.
not not a new story, as it were.
Exactly. That's why people connect more, like many people feel connected to it because it gives you a feeling. I read a book, name was Foretelling. And the book itself, okay, of course, it's about the Amazon and the woman era and all these things. Beside the story, the presentation of that book, the physical presentation of that book was the color of the pages are of more of okay, a pinkish with a hint of pinkish tone in cream, which is very soothing and very comforting. And the color they use for some pictures in it, very cute little pictures here and there, um, or the color of those pictures were brown. So the feel was soothing, and it was reminding me of my childhood cereals like caramel and some cream, and I was enjoying that. The story itself was not a child story, not children's story, anything like that. But I was feeling like I'm experiencing something which is very comforting, very soothing, and all that. So sometimes this type of cueing works like magic, works like wonder. Same with this Alchemist. Literary wise, okay, okay book. Not something huge, no. But because it has a feeling of it. This story is coming from heart to heart, from generations to generation, and coming from my grandmother or my grandfather, something like that. So subconsciously, all readers feel connected to it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's very well done in that sense. It's
In
sharing it
that
as,
sense,
and
yes.
that's why a lot of it doesn't make sense. Like because in those old myths, a lot of that stuff is like, hello, it came from a time before when people weren't as thoughtful and rational and sensible.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
yes, he was sure that it made. No, sorry. Okay. The wind began to pick up. He knew that wind, people called it Levanter, because on it the Moors had come from the Levant at the eastern end of Mediterranean. Levanter increased in intensity. Here I am between my flock and my treasure. the boy thought he had to choose between something he had become accustomed to and something he wanted to have. There was also the merchant's daughter, but she wasn't as important as his flock because she didn't depend on him. Maybe she didn't even remember him. He was sure that it made no difference to her on which day he appeared for her. Every day was the same, and when each day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to recognize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. Here, this paragraph, and especially the end of this paragraph, which seems like on surface, it seems like that it is completely disconnected. It is just added here because what he
Which
was talking
paragraph?
about.
Read it again, please.
Okay, so I'm reading the whole paragraph, but I'm talking about the end of that paragraph, especially like last three lines.
Okay.
So the levanter increased in intensity. Here I am, between my flock and my treasure, the boy thought. He had to choose between something he had become accustomed to and something he wanted to have. There was also the merchant's daughter, but she wasn't as important as his flock because she didn't depend on him. Maybe she didn't even remember him. He was sure that it made no difference to her on which day he appeared for her. Every day was the same. And when each day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to recognize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, this whole paragraph is a mix of a storyteller's thought and the character's thought, because the character is thinking about, and then the interpretation is started from, of course, from the storyteller, that this flock is important because the flock was dependent on him, but merchant's daughter is not, because she is not dependent on him. She is living her life. And then he went actually go back to went on to something completely different, not in entirely different. Okay, I use the word completely wrong here. So not entirely different, but it's an added explanation and definition of something which is not obviously relevant here. Because for me personally, I feel that okay, he was talking about the merchant's daughter who don't even care about, because she is not aware. They never made any commitment or any promises or anything. It was just 1 day or 2 day thing, and then it was a whole year. And he's saying that she's not dependent on him. For her life is same. Who knows that her life is same or not? But he's just okay assuming thing, because all he can do is just assuming about that. And then he starts
of love or include ownership.
And then the storyteller jumps in and is saying that when every day is same as the next day, people miss a lot of things. In merchant's daughter's life, we don't know what is happening, and we don't know how many people are coming, and she is getting opportunity and availing them or not, or where she is. No character definition, but the storyteller jumps in to say things like that. When you have everything like that, when you are ignorant about what is happening about life in general, and you are not appreciative towards tiny little things in life, you miss a lot. But this is it doesn't feel
that's the
connected
problem with Santiago at this point, right? Or the boy, as he's called.
Yes.
That he does miss a lot.
And he is thinking about, but
even though he knows more, he's
Martin's daughter is missing a lot. Yes.
He has assumptions and beliefs which are inappropriate.
I left my father, my mother, and the town castle behind. They have gotten used to my being away, and so have I. The sheep will get used to my not being there too, the boy thought. From where he sat, he could observe the plaza. People continued to come and go from the baker's shop. A young couple sat on the bench where he had talked with the old man, and they kissed. That baker, he said to himself, without completing the thought. The levanter was still getting stronger, and he felt its force on his face. That wind had brought the moors. Yes, but it had also brought the smell of the desert and of veiled woman. It had brought with it the sweat and the dreams of men who had once left to search for the unknown, and for the gold and adventure, and for the pyramids. The boy felt jealous of the freedom of the wind and saw that he could have the same freedom. There was nothing to hold him back except himself. The sheep, the merchant's daughter, and the fields of Andalusia were only steps along the way to his destiny. The next day, the boy met the old man at noon. He brought his 6 sheep with him. I'm surprised, the boy said. My friend bought all the other sheep immediately. He said that he always dreamed of being shepherd and that it was a good omen. It is, said the old man. It's called the principle of favorability. When you play cards the first time, you're almost sure to win. Beginner's luck. Why is that? Because there is a force that wants you to realize your destiny. It whets your appetite with the taste of success. Okay. This question, that why this thing happened, is I think everyone, I'm assuming that has asked at one point in their life, like, okay, so it was the first time, like, why it happens, like, okay, for me it was a question that when I was doing that, and it was clicking something, whatever it was, completely unknown, and I just said, okay, so, and now the storyteller in this Paulo, uh, he explained this in a very mm, magical way, you can, not like practically how this thing can happen. He just say that in a magical way, that universe do conspire to actually make it happen for you if you really want to pursue your dreams. Maybe any person who is just trying or playing cards, or okay, maybe fell into gambling, this might not be his desired destiny.
Yeah.
So we are talking about the desired destiny here, not the destiny itself. And when a person is on his way or her way
Their
to
way,
get
yeah.
okay, their way to get their desired destiny, then how this universe actually help
Yeah.
or don't help them? This is the question here.
Yeah. 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 Big deal. It's a big deal, Beena. It's a very big deal, yeah.
And the old man began to inspect the sheep, and he saw that one was lame. The boy explained that it wasn't important since that sheep was the most intelligent of the flock and produced the most wool. I don't know about Paulo, but in Quran there's a verse which saying that if you found someone and you don't feel like really you don't feel love for them, it is in context of a spouse, and say that if you have a spouse which is like you and they have something which really irritates you or you don't like it, believe that they must have something which you are not aware of, which
Yeah.
is completely soothing and comforting for you.
Yeah.
And when I was reading this thing that okay, it's a lame one, but it produced the most wool, and also that this is the most intelligent one also. So the obvious laziness, which is like okay, visible laziness,
Yeah.
might be because that sheep was thinking like Santiago. Okay, so what about this? And then appreciating all the fields and everything, every new thing.
Yeah.
Who knows? How can we just assume things about that? Uh, it's a very peculiar way, but I always say that if this is how we assume that okay, animals don't have the intelligence level like that, then the universe or nature or God or Allah would not put a brain inside their skull. That would be something else.
Yeah.
Another muscle to eat. Okay, that's not normal, bilkul. So it's an inability or lack of ability to do things the way humans do. That's it. but
Yeah.
they also are aware of it. And of course, we are privileged, and we are a bit distinguished in way that we do make effort to be aware. This is what
Yeah.
makes humans really, really significant or distinguished one, because we try to acquire awareness. We don't accept that things like, okay, oh, it is how it is. Like most animals just are into that. So
Yeah.
that is something, okay, we must feel good about ourselves, that human species have this thing in them. They do put effort to be aware and increase and enhance our awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, my thinking. Okay, where is the treasure, he asked. It's in Egypt, near the pyramids. The boy was startled, and the old woman had said the same thing, but she hadn't charged him anything. In order to find the treasure, you will have to follow the omens. God had prepared a path for everyone to follow. You just have to read the omens that he had left for you. Before the boy could reply, a butterfly appeared and fluttered between him and the old man. He remembered something his grandfather had once told him, that butterflies were a good omen, like
Yeah.
crickets and like expectations, like lizards and four-leaf clover.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
this is an unfortunate part, right?
Yes.
This idea that omens have this pre-existing meaning. But anyway, it's part of the traditional mythology that we have to work through and update, right?
Mhm. Okay. So, what are omens?
Well, in way of impeccability, we call them anomalies.
Okay. What are
Same thing.
anomalies?
Yeah. So what are they? It's a great question, Beena. That's a very, very, very good question, right? I mean, I use anomalies because I don't want to use omens, signs, portents, because omens, signs, portents, etc., have this historical mythology and this misunderstanding involved. And there's this belief that they have a predefined meaning, right?
Hmm.
But so that's why I use anomalies. But to now define what are anomalies, omens, signs, portents, they are mechanisms used by the universe or your subconscious to draw your attention to moreness.
Hmm.
They give you hints and clues as to what you could not of your own accord be aware of.
Hmm.
So there are portals, indications, hints, clues, tips, suggestions, prompts, nudges, sometimes smacks from yourself or the universe or both, however you wish to look at it, which indicates for you that, hey, I need to pay attention here. That's the
Mhm.
key. I need to pay
Mhm.
attention, right?
Mhm.
So when you see this and you see things that are coming and it draws your attention. So an omen, usually it's not just butterflies flying by. There has to be something that says this is not just a part of the normalness of life, right? Because
Mhm.
I can look around me and, likely if I'm standing in a place where there are butterflies, I'm going to see butterflies. It doesn't necessarily make it an omen, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of foolish when you think of it in that way. Oh, you see butterflies, this is a good omen. Well, if it's butterfly season, you're going to be seeing them every day. No, there has
Mhm.
to be something unusual, something odd, something peculiar, something that isn't normal, but inexplicable. To say, oh, now your attention is being drawn to the butterflies. Otherwise, like I said, I could say, well, trees. What are the omen of trees? I'm seeing trees around me all the time. You see, has to be something unusual about it, something anomalous. That's why I call them anomalies. Now, when it's anomalous, now your attention is being drawn. What about the butterflies? See, now you have to do some figuring out. You have to think some thinking. You have to start looking at the omen as language of the world. Yeah,
Mhm.
which is a symbolic language, same as the language in your dreams. You can't just take your dreams literally. You have to understand it. It's all you. Same way with the reality. what are you trying to say to you, or what is the universe trying to say to you? Now it changes, right? Now it becomes a whole different experience. That's why it's so important to understand that the language of omens or the language of anomalies, it's a personal language. Same as your dreams, right? Nobody can tell you what the things in your dreams mean. They're your creations of your subconscious. Yes, likely they are going to overlap with other people's meanings. If you see a monster, likely, well, it's a scary monster, But, for me, I see a monster in my dream. It's like, oh, wow, this is opportunity to practice lucid dreaming. So for me,
Hmm.
a monster is a gift, right? And once you've been trained, so you can turn it and change it. But still, the monster is still in some way, representing something, not fun. Yeah, at
Hmm.
least initially, at any rate. So my point is that symbols very personal. And again, like that person who was being chased by the gorilla, it was very personal to him why it was a gorilla specifically. There was a reason for it. We don't know what. I don't remember what specifically.
Mhm.
So it's always in some way personal, yeah, or representation. Now, of course, some symbols we adopt as symbols that are universal. They could be your personal understanding. So I'm not saying it isn't so. I'm just saying to be aware that, even though it's a common symbol, it still has to be particularly so for you. But that doesn't mean that in the omen or the anomaly, it's being used in the typical way. Yeah.
Mhm.
What if you
Mhm.
saw butterflies being eaten by a bird? Is that a good omen too? You saw butterflies. You see my point?
Yes.
So, or what if a bird came and it ate one butterfly and left the other when it could have eaten both? You see, that would be an anomaly. Well, that's a bit peculiar. The bird could have eaten both, but it only ate one. You see?
Hmm.
Now you can go. But again, omens are very particular to the moment. It's about what's in your heart and your mind and your soul, what was important to you at the time, and now you're looking for resolution. So this is what omens are, Beena, a better way of thinking of it. Omens are resolutions coming to you from your subconscious or the universe. But they don't give you the answer. They a portal to the answer,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Because you need to come to that awareness by yourself. How's the universe going to be giving you answers all the time? It will only help you when you are kind of stuck or when things are outside of your ability to perceive. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Makes sense, right? Because otherwise you're just basically helping somebody, but by helping them, you're not helping them because they just get to be kind of dependent on this. Yeah.
mhm. Mhm.
They
Okay.
become robots. You just lead them around like children. They never learn. Yeah.
So as we say that reality and time is just a perception, and this is what we all have, and of course it can change with our perspective.
Whoa.
So when we are looking for an answer, especially when we are consciously, deliberately looking for an answer, and our conscious mind is continuously, our attention of focus is continuously onto something specific,
Yeah.
we tap into a different dimension of our awareness, and that awareness brings something or makes something unusual, that okay, yes, you are tapping into something, and now your creativity is going to give you some other hints, and now you will create a new way to deal with this situation or to do something like this or be creative. Okay, this is a hint right there that you are tapping into your awareness, because the anomaly in this case, as you are using the term, which is completely unusual, like okay, no, like you saw a basket full of eggs, and it was unusual, like how this could be, it was completely unusual in your situation.
In the
And
context, exactly. It was very
yes.
anomalous. It really stood out. Why would people leave it behind right there on the counter? and it was in the basket because, this wire basket, which is fascinating because who puts eggs in a basket? Have you ever done it?
No.
Exactly. Have you ever seen it? Eggs in a basket?
Well, I saw that one of my auntie was trying to be very creative, and it was a get together, and it was in winter, and she says, okay, and she bought a basket which was made of swing. It was like it was a swing in a basket anyway, and she put all the eggs in it because she says, okay, I want to bring eggs, so we will boil them and we will have it coffee in the night and all that. But
Yeah.
when she entered at the door, that swing moved and all the eggs actually fell on the doorstep.
Wow. So she actually was a representation of why you don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
So Auntie was a very literal demonstration. Thank you, Auntie.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was a
Uh,
horrible thing because you know that
oh,
the smell.
shame, man. Shame
Yeah,
for Auntie. But
yeah,
that's a magical story.
exactly.
So two things are magical. First, again, I've never seen somebody put eggs in a basket, right? I've never known this in my life for somebody to do that. That was the first time that I've ever seen it, right? But
Hmm.
again, I didn't see the people. I just saw the egg with a basket in it, so I didn't see them doing it, right? And
Yes.
secondly, I've never heard of a story like yours where somebody did put all the eggs in one basket and then fell and broke all the eggs.
No, she didn't fell.
Or
That basket was made of in a shape of like a swing. So it was a basket, and she bought it from Saudi. So she was like flaunting it, like, okay, I bought a new thing. It's very cool that it's a swing and also it's a basket. So it was moving. That
yeah,
basket was moving, and she put all the eggs in that. It
yeah.
was
But
very
still, I
weird.
mean that my point is okay, not fall. I mean, I use the words poorly, but I never heard of a story where somebody had all the eggs in a basket and it ended in
Yes.
calamity, proving the
Yes.
expression. That's the
Yes.
first time ever that I've heard somebody say, "Oh, this actually happened to somebody." I've never heard of it otherwise. Yeah.
We have this. We have this.
So, is it a story that still comes up? In other words, has Auntie gotten over the story, or do people still repeat it?
No, people are still like, okay, whenever we did, like, okay, in conversation, in chatting, or like, oh yes, this also happened, and it was
Oh,
when
yeah.
she
So
was
it's a
entering.
story that's sticking with Auntie. In other words.
Yes.
So when
Yes.
you say it was a swing, what do you mean? I don't quite follow and understand what you mean by a
Okay, so
swing.
that basket had actually two loops on each side, and with those loops, it was hanging in the air with the stand. So it was a basket made in a shape of which is something swinging and moving. So
Ah,
yeah.
interesting. So it's not a rigid basket. It's a subtle,
No, yes, it was not like
flexible
that.
basket. Interesting.
And when she was entering in the room in their house at the main door, that swing actually swinged, and then all the eggs
Oh,
put out.
shame, Auntie. Shame, Auntie. Shame, Auntie.
It was like she flaunts everything. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. Oh well. So again, she was trying to show off, and it backfired. So you see,
yes.
yeah. Well, all right. All right. So lesson learned, Auntie. Hopefully you learned. Hopefully you learned. Hopefully we
Yeah.
don't know if she learned or not, right, Beena?
Okay. So anomalies, or some people say omens, are
Yeah.
are
Well, most people will say
arts.
omens or signs or
Okay.
portents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But
whatever
mostly
it
in
is.
modern language, they typically would say signs.
Okay. And
Uh,
symbols.
Omens is some people still use it, but it's a little older.
Okay.
Portents is even older. Yeah.
Mhm.
But in modern language, most people will just say signs. Oh, I got a sign from the universe or
So
sign from God.
it is uh, it is our subconscious mind
Yeah.
desperately trying to look for an answer.
Well,
And
it's actually, let me rephrase that. Sorry, Beena. It's the subconscious mind drawing your attention to a resolution to what's going on inside you. It's about
I was saying that
attention.
it is our subconscious mind which is desperately looking for an answer, and as our conscious mind actually put that attention and make it possible, like make it obvious for us that okay, it is our conscious mind we are looking for, searching for an answer. So the
Right. But
subconscious mind tap into
omen,
something creative.
yeah, right. But the omen is a clue, a hint, a suggestion, a tip, it's a whole range of things. But its essential purpose is to draw your attention to something symbolic, which you then need to figure out and therefore get to resolution. So it is a stepping stone to resolution, not the resolution itself. It's very important to understand about omens.
Hmm.
It's not the resolution itself, it's a stepping stone. But it's first of all, it's a mechanism that draws your attention to something you can look at and say, and then you figure it out, and there you go. See? It's not
Hmm.
the resolution itself, it's a stepping stone to resolution. And it's
Okay.
drawing your attention to the means, the mechanism for getting to resolution, right? See?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like your dreams. They aren't resolutions in and of themselves, or not usually. You have to understand, interpret, think about it a little bit, figure it out. Okay, this is what my subconscious is trying to.
Hmm.
Yeah. It doesn't want to give you the answers directly because that will defeat the object, the purpose of the whole exercise of consciousness. You already have all the answers. Yeah. So
Yes.
see, so if it just keeps giving it to you, well, you already have it internally in you. Like Santiago, he knows the answers. He understands sheep, but it's not in consciousness, right? He knows that they not don't just think about food and water, that they think about reproduction and other things too. But he doesn't. It's not in his consciousness,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So this is the whole point and purpose of awareness: is that we are looking to bring our subconscious to conscious. And we could say that we are the focal points of the universe or instruments of the universe looking to become conscious of its own awareness, to become deliberately conscious of its own awareness, of its own understanding, or to become
And
conscious of itself.
okay, another thing about beginner's luck. I personally feel that it's not luck actually. It is our excitement. It is our not being bothered by, because we haven't tested the defeat or loss in that particular situation or thing. So we don't feel scared of. It is like, okay, I have no repo. There is nothing on stake. I can try without having any baggage on us. We do try something, and that's how things happen in our life. This is what we really want in our life. So it's not luck actually. It is our carefreeness, it is our childlike amusement, it is our excitement and fun, and it is our no ego nonsense involved in that, which brings us luck in new things. Okay, it is quote unquote luck. I don't feel that it's just a beginner's luck. I feel that it is our own childlike self. It is our own non-ego self which brings us these things mostly to us, that okay, oh, I'm trying, oh, I'm new, I have no reputation problem, I have nothing on stake, I can, okay, if I will lose, so what is it, what's in it, because I have no reputation, no respect, oh my god, it's going to be embarrassing, or no, nothing, because I'm just trying, it's so fun. So okay, and then that fun is the key. So it's not a beginner's luck for me. It is that childlike amusement, being amused like a child, state of being, which brings us this type of situation, positive situation or outcomes in our life.
Yeah, but we could say the universe tricks us into learning.
That about the beginner's luck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, okay, in this case, he's saying, it's beginner's luck, and that's how he gets into it. But also, it is not just luck, but interest or whatever. There's all sorts of ways, but the essential underlying deeper conceptuality is that you're being tricked into learning because you get something that appeals to you, that pulls you. Okay, in the case of superiority paradigm, it's winning. But if you're not subscribed to that, well, it's interest, it's eagerness, it's excitement, it's joy. And this is the initial imprint which keeps you going through the trials and travails of learning.
Mm.
See, you have a positive association with it, and that's very cool, right?
Yeah.
Does it make sense, Beena?
Uh,
Unless of course we've learned to enjoy learning and growing, then the universe doesn't need to use such tricks on us,
mm-hmm.
right?
Okay. Yes, of course, there is a possibility, and it's a parallel perspective on that. I'm not saying it's an alternate perspective. Of course, many perspectives can coexist simultaneously, so it's not something like that. But personally, I feel that all we need is just that no ego involved in that, and that carefreeness, that freedom of, okay, if we lose, no problem. If I fail, no problem. What it's not so going to hurt me. So just no, don't bother about anything, and then the beginner's luck will be there. It's actually a childlike luck.
Yeah,
We must say that, because every time if we can get and acquire that state of being again and again in every situation, second time when I'm going to do it, or maybe later in my life I'm going to do that, there is a respect and or there is a expectations involved and attached to that. If they get attached to that, okay, because I was doing fine and now I have to be careful because I have experience. And same with the life. When we, what happened when we are child, we get everything. The only thing we know how to get anything is to cry. Open your mouth and that's it.
right. To complain, essentially.
Open your mouth and that's it. Okay, this was the only thing we can do at that time. So okay, open your mouth and you will get everything. And
Yeah,
this is how they get everything. And then when they become toddler, they start taking things, try to take things and try to ask for that, but they don't feel embarrassed about like, okay, oh, I need to do that. And some children do that and they really get miserable. I was aware of it. I was carrying that baggage that, oh, I cannot ask for feed, I cannot ask for something, and they have to invite me. They have to ask me that, okay, whatever I want to take. That was very horrible thing. To have as a child that attitude, and I had that. So it was not fun, and we have to be like that. That okay, so nobody needs to invite me in my own home for to eat, and they have
yeah,
asked me that, okay, now you want more. No, okay, okay, would you like to eat this? That type of behavior, that was not fun and it was not good. And I tried my best to get rid of it, to improve myself, and don't bother about these type of things. So my case was completely unusual in this regard. Not entirely, but yes, okay, yes, unusual, uncommon, you can
yeah.
say that. So other children, they are free, and that freeness, that freedom is the key. Universe respond to you when you don't talk from your ego nonsense mask.
Exactly. But to get to that point of being
Yes,
egoless, or at least have appropriate ego, to
of
get
course.
to that point, we kind of need to be tricked out of the superiority paradigm, or out of all the other nonsense. Yeah. So because we're starting off with zero, you can go in any direction. So the universe is trying to assist you to go in appropriate directions. It can't
Yes.
force you, because it can't say go here, because then it's programming you. So it tries to kind of get you involved, and
At
uses
least
these kind of tricks.
initially, at least not initially,
Exactly.
but later on, of course, you get smacked big
Right,
hard time.
right, but
Smacked.
also it's because of your intent, you see.
Yeah.
So where it's a materialization of your intent. You've already started the ball rolling with your intent. Now the universe is just adding to it a little bit, and giving you what you want, essentially.
And trust me, that egoless would be much worse than an eggless cake. So just appropriate ego.
Interesting. Mm,
You have to have that.
But they do exist.
Yeah, but this is not fun. This is not fun.
How do you know? Have you eaten it? Have you eaten one?
Oh yes,
Eggless cake? You've eaten it?
yes, yes.
Those recipes that I looked up?
Ah, yes. It was like with what it was, with what you were saying that, and it was yeast. Yes, it was with yeast. Yeah, with
Yeah.
yeast. I was saying that cake with yeast. Yeast to cake. So, but I'm saying that egoless is worse than eggless cake.
Oh. To have some yeast, and we have to have
Ego.
some ego.
Yes. Yes.
I
Okay.
think ego is very much like yeast, Beena.
Yes.
Your ego is the yeast of self. I'll add that to my quote file. That's a good quote,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going
Because
to eat something
because
still.
look, very much, Beena, like if you, what happens when you use too much yeast?
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible.
What happens?
Okay, we will check. We will check. I never tried.
Oh,
I don't.
well, if you add too much yeast, well, first of all, it doesn't taste very nice. But
Of
the
course,
thing
and it blow up.
overflows the baking pan,
Blow up.
and it's just a mess, right? I mean, first of all, when you use too much yeast, you don't even get it into the oven. The thing just overruns. But Google it, and look under
Okay,
images. Too
but
much
yes,
yeast.
but I'm going. I'm have my dinner, and then I'll be back.
All right, I'll search for it while you're away.
Okay, bye for now.
All right, see you soon. Okay, let me pause the recording.